What if I told you that a 3-year-old boy went missing in the woods by his grandmother's home for 3 days with no food or water, alone, and survived? Now, what if I told you this isn't the first time this has happened? And that it's happened more times than you think, all over the United States, and dating as far back as the 1800s. The story you're about to hear is true. It is not a fabrication. On January of 2019, 3-year-old Casey Hathaway, while playing in his grandmother's backyard with relatives, seemingly disappears. Casey is not with them, and after some time of searching for him, his grandmother calls the authorities. Both the FBI and NCIS, along with dozens of volunteers, begin searching for the boy. The U.S. Marine Corps also joins the effort. After deploying helicopters, drones, canines, and other advanced tech, searchers are still unable to locate the missing boy, who went missing while playing with relatives in his grandmother's backyard. With weather temperatures dipping to below freezing, hopes of finding little Casey alive grew slimmer and slimmer. But on the third day, after receiving tips from callers calling in about strange cries coming from the woods not far from where the boy went missing, searchers descend upon the location. They immediately spot Casey on an island, so to speak. Rescuers had to wade through waist-high water to get to him, but here he was, alive and well. Amazingly, for a 3-year-old boy who's been missing. The area where the boy was found had been searched thoroughly in the 2 days previous. It was only about half a mile from where he went missing. But how had he survived with no water for 3 days? How had he gotten to the spot where he was at? 3-year-old boy with no water for 3 days? When the young boy was asked what he did to survive, he simply replied, "I hung out with a bear." Something strange is going on in our forests, parks, and woods. Children and adults are being taken. Some return dazed with little memory of anything, if they're returned at all. Sometimes tattered clothes and some bone fragments will be found. Oftentimes, the shoes of the victim are found in pristine condition, in sharp contrast to other items left. This story has been a pretty common story out west and near some of the very prominent national parks. Did you know 600,000 people go missing in the U.S. every year, according to NamUs? That is an earth-shattering number. More than half a million people go missing every year in the United States. And nobody seems to really know about that. Canines, who are a very integral part of the search and rescue, most times will not even search, as if to have no scent. I want to stress that the child being found in good health and safe is the main goal. And after that is taken care of, then the next goal would be to find out what happened to these children. Well, if we talk to the child, who is usually around 3 to 4 years old, which is a common occurrence between these cases. Most children will have trouble communicating complicated situations. Most people would take what little Casey said about hanging with a bear and say that it was his imagination. Something his conscience did to help him deal with his traumatic issue. But I disagree. One way or another, something helped this boy, but at the same time was probably the cause for the boy's disappearance. Surely the boy would know the difference between man and bear. So what was this? Stories persist in these areas. Old Native American legends of giants living in the woods and forests of North Carolina and Tennessee. The Cherokee Indians of western North Carolina told of many stories of encountering giants well before the Europeans arrived. Most encounters between the Cherokee and the giants were peaceful, and we can assume that these giants lived in these areas. Not far to the west of Charlotte, North Carolina, is Brown Mountain. Brown Mountain has had very unusual lights and unidentified aerial phenomena captured on film and video. and has become somewhat of a hotspot for UFO hunters and paranormal researchers alike.
Giants living in the woods and forests.
Strange lights can be seen on some nights moving through the forest.
The Cherokee Indians of western North Carolina.
Researchers still are stumped on any explanation for these lights. Could these lights be connected to the missing children?
Before Europeans arrived.
The lights at Brown Mountain may not be connected to the disappearances.
Were peaceful, and we can assume that the giants lived in these areas.
But further research is needed.
Not too far to the west of Charlotte, North Carolina, is Brown Mountain. Brown Mountain has had unusual lights and unidentified aerial phenomenon captured on film and video, and has become an apparent hotspot for UFO hunters and paranormal researchers alike. Strange lights can be seen on some nights, moving through the forest as if the light shining were a lamp. Researchers are still stumped on any explanation for these lights. Could these lights be connected? Well, the lights at Brown Mountain may not be connected to the disappearances, but I believe that it still holds some answers for us. Further research is needed. As for our disappearance in forests and national parks, it's a real story that no one knows about, and it's happening right in your backyard. Please protect our children and keep eyes on them at all times while outdoors. Always stay together, never wander off alone. The outdoors and woods are a wonderful place. I spent most of my life outside with no cares or worries. I worry a little bit more now than before, but I wouldn't say I'm scared because now I feel I'm prepared for whatever may be out there. That I am now more mindful of my surroundings. So let this story be a lesson to those who think humans are the cream of the crop species on this planet. Soon, we may find out otherwise.